Hi.
Good morning.
I first want to thank you. You came to Rome, and it is a pleasure to meet you. You're such a nice guy.
Oh. I'm having a really lovely time.
So I'm just curious, if you could choose a superpower, whatever it could be, what would it be?
It's a toss-up between flying and invisibility. I think, actually, do you know what? I probably would be invisible because then I could sneak onto flights. But yeah, I think invisibility would be quite an amazing superpower. Just to going over here, the real conversations, you know, and people not telling porky pies like people in America. In the White House. Sorry to go on about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi again.
Hi.
This question is from a friend of mine, and she wanted to ask which kind of studies did you do to become an actor, and if there's an actor you draw inspiration from?
Oh, good question. I started acting sort of relatively late. I wasn't a child actor. I started when I was 17. I wanted to work in sport before that. I wanted to be a physiotherapist. I know, weird. And then I sort of inadvertently, I was doing my A-levels, which is like your sort of end of high school exams, and you have to sort of specialise in at least 3 subjects. And I'd taken 3 subjects, and one of them I wasn't enjoying, which was my history. And so I dropped it, and my tutors were like, you have to do another subject, and I didn't really know what to do. And then my old English teacher came to me and she said, I'm running the theatre studies class. I think you'd really enjoy it. I've got 12 girls and 1 boy at the moment. I'm 17, right? I was like, okay, me likes them odds. So I went for completely the wrong reasons. And then I caught the bug. I really enjoyed the classes, and then they did a school play and I got cast in that, and then a friend of mine's mum came and saw it, and she used to be an actress, and she phoned me up the next day and said, I saw you in the play, I think you should really think about doing this. So she helped me with some speeches to get into drama school, and I went to drama school for 3 years in Scotland, and I was really fortunate. I mean, I came out of drama school and started working straight away. So, and then I think my sort of, you know, I like to think as an actor, it's a continual sort of education to try and sort of get better and better as you get older and older.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Tom.
Hello.
I could talk to you about being a twin because I have a twin brother.
Okay.
And we could talk about cricket, but that will bore everybody else.
Are you sure? Should we talk about cricket? No, okay.
But Vancouver is a fantastic city, and I just wondered how you enjoyed living there, and do you have favourite parts?
I do. I love Vancouver. Because before I did Lucifer, I did Rush, and that was also in Vancouver. So I've spent the last 3 years of my life there, pretty much. It is, without doubt, certainly from July through to September, one of the most beautiful cities you'll ever visit. It's just surrounded by gorgeous scenery, and you know the people are lovely. It's just a lovely place to be. I think, you know, I stayed down in Yale Town quite a lot there, which has got sort of European cafe culture. I'm just walking around there, and then of course like Stanley Park, which is right in the centre of downtown. There's just this amazing park surrounded by the water, but it's all of it really. It's sort of, there were days when I'd wake up going, oh, I'm really lucky to be here because it's so beautiful.
And at the days when it was raining.
And then there were days when I couldn't see the beauty because of the rain, which it rained a lot, yeah. After living in Glasgow, I never thought I'd live somewhere where it rained quite as much. I was wrong. Yeah. You should go for a wee.
Try not to step on anybody. I just wanted to thank you again for coming. I think we're all enjoying you very much.
Oh, well, I'm enjoying it.
And I just wanted to say that I like the relationship that your character has with Chloe.
But I've seen a lot of TV shows where once they put the characters together, it sort of flattens the story out. So I'm hoping that they'll continue to have this chemistry play between the two of you, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
No, I completely agree. I mean, if there's going to be any sort of longevity to our show, then I think that Chloe and Lucifer getting together wouldn't help that.
Right.
I think you need that tension for these things to exist. You know, all things that I used to love watching back in the day, moonlighting, you know, things like that. Ross and Rachel in Friends, you know, when they brought them together, they had to split them up again to sort of give the new life to the show. But nearly getting there is as exciting as them getting there. Because once they've got there, it's like, well, what do you want to do? Just sit and watch them kiss all the time? Ooh. Thank you. Please.
It's from another friend.
You've got a lot of friends, haven't you? It's for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. It's for a friend.
If you could choose an historical period to live in, which one would you choose and why?
Any period to live in?
Yes.
I've always thought it'd be really cool to be in the 60s. The 60s seemed like a really cool time, a sort of explosion of culture and people like loving each other and coming out of the doom and gloom of the post-war 50s and stuff. I think the 60s are great. And yeah, I think the 60s. Does that answer your question? The 60s. Tell your friend, the 60s. Please tell her.
I wasn't concentrating.
To the back of the room. Not good enough.
Yeah, I'm still fit from last night.
What happened last night?
Whiskey drinking last
Oh,
night.
right, yeah.
Lucifer is very...
Are you sure that's all that?
As much as I can remember, yeah.
When in Rome.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
You look flustered now. I'm flustered.
I am.
Sorry.
I'm not going any further with that sentence.
Okay.
Lucifer is very stylized. It has a very Art Deco sort of feel to it, with the costumes and the look and that sort of thing. Is that very much a deliberate policy of the show, that everybody who's kind of on Lucifer's side, so to speak, wears the fantastic clothing, the really high heels, but on the detective side, it's very much more jeans, casual clothing, not so fancy?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There was a conscious decision about the styling of the celestial beings, but I think, again, starting with the pilot script, the way that Lucifer was written, it felt from a different time. And what we were trying to do with this character was suggest that he was timeless and he'd lived through millennia, and visited Earth various times. And if you go around Lucifer's penthouse, you can see that there's lots of different artifacts that have been collected along the way, and sort of, Egyptian drawings and, papyrus and things like that. So, yeah, we really wanted to give it that classic feel and feel that he was someone from a different place and a different time. And again, tying in with the sort of to get some sort of separation between our celestial characters and our humans. The humans are very much in, everyday human wear, to suggest these two sort of worlds colliding.
Do you get quite sad when you have a new costume? Because it's quite obvious, when you're not wearing a suit, you wear a different suit. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, suit again?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was a conscious choice. We sort of played around in the pilot and in a couple of episodes in the first season with Lucifer not in a suit. And I was like, I kind of feel like he should just be in a suit. That's his uniform. That's his kind of shield, and that's just the way he presents. And I think for the time being we'll stick in the suits. But yeah, the things that change are maybe his pocket squares.
Yeah.
His socks. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Maybe the odd shirt change. Yeah. Thank you. And if you remember what happened last night, come and see me later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't looked through my phone yet. So.
Hi.
Hi. So my question is that is there a role that you would love to play that you've never had, or a role that you'd like to audition for? It's like a dream role.
Plenty, yeah.
But you can only pick one.
Oh.
And why?
And why? I mean, I've always wanted to play Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing, and I've always been too young up to this point. So, you know, theatre is where I started out, and theatre is what I really, really love doing. So the opportunity to play that part one day would be fantastic, because I just love the way that character's written. And again, similarly like we talked about yesterday, you know, that sort of tension and the simmering kind of resentment of two people who really actually love each other is a really fun dynamic to play. So that would be great, and doing some Shakespeare again would be quite nice. So yeah.
Thank you.
The other roles, oh, she's gone.
Hi there.
Hi.
Maybe it's a weird question, but I was wondering
Yes.
what kinds of...
It's all true.
I was wondering what kind of fairy tale do you like best? Because you spoke out Beauty and the Beast. Is it more like Disney, or maybe the old Grimm fairy tales?
I do love Beauty and the Beast. I haven't seen the new film yet, but there's something about that story that I don't know why I really like it, but I do. There's something about finding beauty inside. That sounds wrong. Just stop. And you know, again, you know, in the first season of Lucifer, when the detective comes to his penthouse and he comes out naked, and then she sees the scars on his back. It really reminded me, there were real echoes of Beauty and the Beast with this relationship. And I think Lucifer, you know, probably himself feels that he is, you know, a beast and he's not worthy and all of that sort of stuff. But, and she sees beyond that. And so it's weird how this show sort of echoes that fairy tale. But yes, that is a favourite fairy tale, and also one of my... I used to watch a lot of Disney cartoons when I was a kid, and that was one of my faves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a very witty chap, as a customer, but do you have a favourite cheesy joke?
Yes, I've got plenty. How long have you got?
About 20 minutes.
Okay, here's my favourite joke. There's two fish in a tank, and one says to the other, "So how do you drive this thing?" A sort of chuckly, groany response. I'm full of dad jokes. Because I spend a lot of time away from my kids when I'm shooting, unfortunately my cast and crew get the brunt of it. I've got dad joke Tourette's. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering whether you've always been surrounded by passionate people in terms of their work and their craft, and like, have you ever been in a situation where, you know, someone's not really giving their 100%, and does that throw you off? Or generally do actors always have, you know, are all actors really passionate about their work, and you know, how does that work?
Have you met any actors? Yeah, it's a good question, by the way. It's a funny kind of like thing, that sometimes people say don't meet your heroes, because you can be a bit disappointed from time to time. I've had a few experiences in my career where I've been really surprised about how sort of lackadaisical and underprepared certain people have been. And it's been sort of crestfalling disappointment from my side, because it's like, oh, I thought you were, you know, this, but you just... It's quite, for me, I think it's quite selfish if someone hasn't done their work. Because the most fun you can have, certainly on a TV set, because you're working at such a quick speed, is that people come in prepared, so then you can just play with each other. It's so... But yes, somewhat thrown now. I think it's to be able to, you know, the most liberating thing as an actor is someone who knows their shit. And you know, they say that you're only, when you play tennis, you're only as good as the person that's hitting the ball back to you. And that's very much what acting's like. You want to be in a scene with two people who are on top of their material and just like, you know, able to play and listen to each other and all those things. So I've been disappointed along the way when certain people haven't been like that. But it just made me think, I don't want to be like that.
Then, like, how do you keep the creativity alive within yourself? Like, stop it from getting too monotonous when you know a character so well that you don't really need to think about it too much. But how do you keep those creative juices still flowing?
I work really hard. I just, you know, and I think the more you, it's the old adage, but the more you put in, the more you get out. And I just don't know anymore. Everything sounds like a double entendre. But it's true. Like I sort of, I had not an epiphany, but like a few years ago, I decided that I was going to actively work harder myself, because there is a culture of laziness sometimes with people, and people not getting excited about what they're doing. And I think we're really lucky to be doing what we're doing, and it's great fun, and we get paid to do it. So it's like, you know, let's make the most of that situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We talked about Doctor Who, so I was wondering if you can say, or I don't know, do something like you were the Doctor, and which is your favorite Doctor and why? Mine is Tennant, and I really love him, and there's no one can get replace him.
I don't know what I'd do as the Doctor.
You have to.
Oh, I have to. Okay.
Oh, no.
Really spontaneous.
Where's my assistant? There you go. Oh, there's the TARDIS. Is that right? I was lucky enough to work with David Tennant on Doctor Who, and I think David is the reason that Doctor Who is regenerated, but why it's had a new life, why it's had a sort of, the modern Doctor Who, why it's had that. But when I was growing up, I really liked Sylvester McCoy. A bit of a random one, isn't it? But I really liked him. There's something about him that I tapped into as a child. And then, of course, Tom Baker, who's just got the most marvellous voice in the world. Thank you.
But you still have to imitate Doctor Who.
I should actually imitate Doctor Who. But they were different.
Okay. Try it. You don't have to imitate, you have to do Doctor Who as you were Doctor Who.
I know, but I haven't got a script, I haven't got anything. I was a Dalek! Thanks. You're so strict. You're a teacher? Doctor. You're a doctor? Are you really? Bloody hell. Okay. Sorry.
Obviously, people here are in fandom, so my question to you is, when you were younger or even now, which fandom have you been in, and if you were going to a convention as an attendee, what kind of conventions would you go to?
This may not be the answer you want to hear, but like when I was growing up, and I still am, obsessed with sport. And so I don't get so thrown meeting actors and whatever, but when I meet sports people, I go really weak at the knees. I can't handle it. I walked past David Beckham at LAX airport, and he was with Thierry Henry, and I lost my shit. So I don't know if they have, you know, sport cons, but that would be what I would have done as a kid. I just, you know, footballers, rugby players, cricket players. I was just any of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
My question is, if you used to read, which one of book do you like, and which one is your favorite?
I have to confess, I don't read an awful lot of books these days, which much to my dad's disappointment. I read a lot of scripts, obviously, but when I was growing up, Roald Dahl was like a huge part of my childhood. Do you know, you guys know Roald Dahl, right? Yeah. Yes. Some people seem to not. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, yeah, all of that business. Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was growing up and I read all of his books, and I read them to my kids now, but one book of his in particular really stuck with me, and it was his autobiography about when he was an RAF pilot in the war. It was called Going Solo. And for some reason it really touched me. I think I was only like 11 or 12 when I read it. And there was something about, he basically made a friend. This is how sad I was as a child. He made a friend in the RAF that he talked about. And, you know, they were in several sort of, you know, adventurous situations. And then they never saw each other after the war, and he talked about it in the book. And so I made it my mission to try and get them back together. I know, how sad. I wanted Roald Dahl to be on This Is Your Life and then to bring this guy out at the end. Is that really sad? It is sad, isn't it? Yeah.
That's sweet. Really sad.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And sorry for your memories, that is bad, I think.
For my memories?
No, for the book.
Oh.